Now, $1 million question that is asked a lot in interviews nowadays. If you are creating an enterprise level AI application, how would that application work? What all components will that have? Now, initially, interviews were like explain the MVC, what is your controller doing, what is your service doing, what is your backend doing, what is your front end doing. Now, where does AI actually lies in this whole architecture of your enterprise application is $1 million questions in interviews. So let's get started and see why should I learn where the chat GPT lies. Now, most of us thinks that there is a front end like this. This is a front end. And at the back end, there is a GPT model which gives you response like this. That is very basic thing to understand. Like there's a front end, we post a question. This is a response from model. So you think there's a front end and there's a chat GPT model. Answer is no, it's not true. This is not how enterprise applications are built. You consider chat GPT, this the one that is working in browser as chat GPT front end. There will be a chat GPT backend. There will be a chat GPT model. There will be multiple chat GPT models 5.4, 5.5, 5.6, think deeper, research deeper, etc. So there is not just chat GPT front end and chat GPT models. There is a chat GPT front end, there is a chat GPT backend. There might be chat GPT database, Kafka's, microservices, and then a model. So your model is not the only stuff in your architecture. It is just a part of your architecture. So I'll tell you a typical enterprise architecture. This is your chat GPT. This is user who is going to type anything in this chat box. Then there's a front end. This is the chat GPT front end that you see. Multiple options, history viewing, possibility, upgrading, all of this is front end. There's a backend application. There must be chat GPT backend also. Then there must be some databases, business APIs, caches, lot of things. Then there will be a prompt builder. So you type anything, but there will be a one which is called as prompt builder, which will make this better so that your model gets customized, optimized prompts and not just the vague prompt if you have given one in the chat box. Then comes your LLMs or the models like GPT. Chat GPT is an application. GPT is the model. Gemini, Claude, all of these are models. And the response validation then goes back to your application. So your application backend is responsible for validation and is responsible for returning your response back to user through front end. So this is the response which you see here is not given directly by LLMs. It is first going through backend. It is saved in database, caches, APIs, all of this comes into picture. Then prompt is built. Then your model is called like this. Then your model is called. And then the response that is coming from there is not shown as it is like this here. It is rather verified first by a backend, formatted then, and then returned as a response to front end, and it is a responsibility of front end to show it to user. So AI application is not just front end and AI, it is front end, back end, APIs, caches, database, everything that you have, prompt builders or optimizers, then models, then request response validations, and then parsing of the response that is given by models. So notice something, your models or LLMs is not the center of your application, but rather your this big part is backend is. So what do you see? The user sends a request and says, like, I would give this summary of my last 5 orders. So this is a prompt. You have given this prompt to your front end. Now this prompt from your front end does not reach directly to LLM. It reaches to backend. Backend validates whether you have logged in or not, whether you are a valid user or not. It checks permissions, it identifies you, it applies business rules. So LLM should not be doing authentication, authorization. It is still the task of your backend. Then at the backend, it fetches the database, it queries, it query external APIs, microservices, caches, everything. It fetches the last 5 orders like this. Now this query running is not done by your LLM, it is done by your backend. So still your backend still remains the main part of your application. And that is why I say LLM here is not to replace you. Your backend remains here. Your backend is the one doing all the stuff that you were doing. AI is just adding some extra memory, some extra intelligence to your application. That's it. Not to replace your backend. You are a backend developer, you will still do the development in backend. So now backend builds the prompt, your backend creates the prompt. Instead of asking summarize my order, it sends here is the list of 5 orders. Which how does it get the list of 5 orders? Because it is a backend who queried the database, fetched the list of orders, then sent it as a prompt engineered message. It summarized them in bullet points. Now you see, this is what is it is asking. Summarize them in bullet points. So you said summary of my last 5 orders. What actually reaches LLM? Here are the last 5 orders. Summary them in 3 bullet points. You see the difference? It is a backend who is responsible to optimize and modify your prompt. Get your request, attach with the history, fetch data from the history from database, attach it to a request sent to your LLM. Now the backend calls LLM with all the 2 things, the last 5 orders as an input and the summary of your request. Now backend sends this to LLM and now LLM model generates the summary. As soon as summary is generated, the response is in plain text. Or in a JSON format. It validates the JSON. It removes sensitive information, check the length, filter inappropriate content, log the interaction, format it better, and send the response to frontend. After validation, the backend returns the final response to frontend, and through frontend, client sees your response. So these are the things involved in your AI application, enterprise level. Now, even in an AI application, your backend still owns these many stuffs that you have been doing since years and you will have to do for many more years. Authentication, authorization, business logic, database access, transaction management, security, rate limiting, validations, logging, monitoring, everything you still have to do. Though it can be generated, I don't deny that. But still, if there is some issue coming in the production, you have to take the ownership of that issues. So nobody is going to replace you. The LLM simply helps you to generate and understand your issue and give more intelligence. So LLM only owns the specialization, summarization, translation, classification, understanding. That's it. It is basically adding more intelligence to your application. Think of it as specialized service that your backend calls when it needs more intelligence. That's it.